Okay, fam. So this video is going to be about setting up a tune. Like, how do you make a tune? Like, how do you lay out a song? Where do you get the different sections of a song or of a piece using chromatic modal theory? There's a lot of ways, and there's a couple of basic principles to it, and we're gonna call this a progression, even though really it's a harmonic map or something. There's a lot of things you could call it, but we're gonna call it a progression, and it has to do with how you lay out the things that happen harmonically in a song. So basically, the premise is that you have a string of chunks of music, and which make the form, and then that form would probably repeat, and then you'll maybe have another. You're the same way any other song works. You have like the A B A B A, where now you're gonna have maybe three different chunks. There's a lot of songs that have three different chunks, and then some songs are a little more complicated. They may have six different chunks, but about that many sections is plenty to build the song on. That's not including your introduction and coda and things like that. Just the basic harmonic stuff that happens in the song. So the most important premise, I guess you would say, is that this kind of music, chromatic modal, relies on staying in one mode or one harmonic place, a mode being a harmonic place, for a while, and then when you've exhausted it, or when it's time, then you go to some other harmonic place. So if you're starting off in Dorian, and well, I'll make it D Dorian because it's the white keys of the piano and easy to see, I will set up some, and the music can be anything, by the way. It can be fast, it can be slow, it can be energetic, it can be beautiful, it can be aggressive, it can be progressive, it doesn't matter what. You can write any kind of music with this. So we're gonna start on D Dorian, and I'm gonna make it easy to understand. Pretty nice, actually. Now I'm ready in my mind to go somewhere else, and let's just put my fingers down. Ooh, did I think ahead? I did not think ahead. All I did was change my bass note and change my fingers to something that I had no idea what I was even doing. And see, look what I did. I put. It sounded cool. So let's start that whole thing over again. I'm in D Dorian, and I went. And what do I do here? I can stay here, but I kind of think I should go right back to. I could do that a few times. So now I got harmonic motion here now. Let's do a different one. I'll start in D Dorian. I'll do something different. I think I'm ready for something else. This time I'm gonna make my bass note go up a half step. And I put my right hand in a random thing. I liked it. Now I can go somewhere else. Let's pick another Dorian. Let's go to E Dorian. I like that. We did D Dorian to something, D Dorian to something else, D Dorian to a surprise, D Dorian to a surprise, when that last surprise was this. Now E Dorian. I'm ready for something else. Hey, let's move the bass note up a half step. I went to F Lydian. I'm not sure if I liked it that much. I'm going to go back and here's my E Dorian. Now I'm ready for something else. I want to move my bass note up a half step. I went to F Dorian. So I think everything we did just now was all Dorians. We started on D Dorian. Then I went up a half step and it's still Dorian. And then I went up another half step. Then I went to F Dorian. Oh, I like that one. What is that? F Phrygian is what that was. That might be enough for our tune. We could go to D Dorian. Yep. So that would be a whole layout of a tune, 4 different chunks. Those are the big chunks. That was one way to do it. That was keeping them, essentially, that was keeping everything Dorian except the last one I did Phrygian. So you could say it was a Dorian piece and it went up chromatically. D Dorian, E flat Dorian, E Dorian, F Phrygian. And then that would start over again. D Dorian, E flat Dorian, E Dorian, F Phrygian. I didn't make them all the same length. The D Dorians were longer, then the E flat Dorian was short, then the E Dorian was longer, and then the F Phrygian was short. You can decide all that later. It just gives you places to go. Another thing that always works is when you've been in a minor mode like Dorian or Aeolian or Phrygian, you sit there for a while, and when you make your harmonic change, you go to a major mode and a different key. So you change to a new key and a new mode, and that mode goes from a minor mode to a major mode. So let's try that. We're gonna start out in D Dorian, and then we're gonna switch to, let's just name something out of it, D Dorian, and we're gonna go to F sharp Lydian. So F sharp Lydian is first of all, it's a lot different than D Dorian. All the notes are different. And it's not major, it's Lydian, so it'll have that extra major sound. So here, let's see if we can make that work. It'll work. This is D Dorian. Now I'm gonna move right here to F sharp Lydian. Nice. So that's F sharp Lydian. There's the sharp 4, here's the major 3rd, here's the sharp 11, I mean the major 7. So, can you see my notes? F sharp, A sharp, B sharp, which is the sharp 4, and the major 7th is the E sharp. So that's where we're going. Now we're gonna see, we're gonna do it again. We're gonna go to D Dorian, we're gonna end up right here. Here's a D Dorian. I'll do it again. It won't work unless I take my time. I'm going to do that again. Sweet. That was D Dorian to F sharp Lydian. A nice surprise. And I can sit here for a while, but I want to spend more of my time in D Dorian. But let's say I've done that twice now. Now where am I going to go? I can go to a different Dorian. Here's F sharp Lydian. Here's F sharp Lydian. Let's go to A flat Dorian and see what we got. Yeah, it works. A flat Dorian is kind of cool because it's mainly black keys. Let's see how that all transpires. So here we're going to set up our tune. D Dorian for a while. F sharp Lydian. You'll have to admit that sounded great. Let's say we did that again. Then we're going on from here. A flat Lydian, we can start up another chunk. This is all A flat Lydian. I went up a half step and I made it Mixolydian. Check this out. That'll bring me right back to. That didn't bring me back. I thought it would bring me back to D Dorian, but it didn't. Anyway, that's how you set up a tune. By staying in one place, and that one place kind of should be a Dorian, because Dorian is where you can sit the longest. You can sit pretty long in a Lydian, but you can't sit very long in a Mixolydian, and you can't sit very long in a Phrygian. And then you want to have surprises. So once you've done your sitting in one place in a Dorian for a while, you want to go to some surprising place that has where all of the notes are different. So if your D Dorian had no sharps and flats, you want to go to a place that has a lot of sharps and flats and make that a Lydian. Or a Dorian, or something. You know what I'm saying? You can make it, you can do a lot of things. If you go to just another key and keep the mode the same, that's great. Let's hear what that sounds like. Well, we did that already. When we did D Dorian to E flat Dorian, D Dorian to E flat Dorian to E Dorian. All that was cool. Those made sense because we're moving by half steps. Let's see what would happen if we moved by fourths. So here's D Dorian, and we're gonna go to a fourth away, which could be G Dorian or A Dorian. Let's try going to G Dorian first. My pedal keeps backing away from me. Now I'm going to go to G Dorian. Works great. Oh, sorry, I did it wrong. D Dorian. I went to G Aeolian, which worked, but we said we were going to G Dorian, so here we go. Oh, is that better or what? Let's go to G Dorian. And I have the major 6 on the top. Let's go to some weird place right now. Let's go to F sharp Lydian, since we had that in our mind from before. Nice. That was D Dorian to G Dorian. Oh, sorry. To F sharp Lydian. Nice. Let's see if we went to D Dorian, what it would sound like. Nice. Works. A lot of things work. Almost everything works. The only thing that doesn't really work is Locrian and Phrygian. It's hard to make Locrian work. Let's talk about Locrian. Locrian that's if we're doing white keys of the piano. Locrian is B, and all the keys are white. It kind of works. See how much tension it has? I'm ready to go somewhere else. That's about as long as I can stand. I'm going to go something over B flat. B flat Lydian. Sounded great. And it was way away from B Locrian. Well, at least I added a few flats. That's the kind of stuff that you can do in a tune. One thing we haven't talked about yet, those are the big moments in a tune. Now, in your long stretch of wherever you're at, you can do little momentary cool movements, and it's better if those keep the same mode. So if you're in D Dorian, easy to see. If you go in whole steps, this would be D Dorian, then go to C Dorian. You know, that's D Dorian to C Dorian and right back. And we're going to go D Dorian, C Dorian, B flat Dorian, and then right back to D Dorian. Now here comes B flat Dorian. Cool. Let's walk ourselves back up. D Dorian, C Dorian, B flat Dorian, C Dorian, back to D Dorian. Let's continue walking down and see what happens. That's A flat Dorian. Sorry. Let's go to G Lydian. Oh, nice. So we did a walk down. D Dorian, C Dorian, B flat Dorian, A flat Dorian, G Lydian. Genius. I'm so smart. No, all I did was some pretty simple, basic stuff. Let's do a walk up from Dorian and see what happens. See what happens if we walk up in whole steps. So here's D Dorian. Here's E Dorian. Here's F sharp Dorian. Now let's go to G Lydian. I think that worked. That was D Dorian, E Dorian, F sharp Dorian, G Lydian. That was nice. Let's see what happens if we walk by minor thirds. This walking business kind of works really good if you pick an interval and to walk by. So that time we walk down in whole steps, keeping everything Dorian. D Dorian, C Dorian, B flat Dorian, A flat Dorian, those are all whole step apart. Then we did D Dorian, E Dorian, which is a whole step, F sharp Dorian, which is a whole step, and then we went to G Lydian, which is a half step in a modal change. Now let's walk by fourths and see what happens. And then we go to G Dorian to C Dorian it doesn't sound very radical because when you go by fourths, you're only changing one flat. When you go by whole steps, you're adding two flats each time or adding two sharps each time. So it's more of a radical change. If we go by thirds, it might be cooler. So let's go by minor thirds. We'll go D, then we'll go B flat, then minor thirds, D Dorian, then B Dorian, then A flat Dorian, then F Dorian. D Dorian, B Dorian, A flat Dorian, F Dorian. See what that sounds like. Here we go. I won't spend a lot of time. There's D Dorian. To A flat Dorian. Nice. To F Dorian. Oh, that was cool, I thought. Those were minor thirds going down. Now let's do minor thirds going up and see what it sounds like. So we're going to go D Dorian, then F Dorian, then A flat Dorian, then do the same chords but backwards. That was cool. I'm on B Dorian now. I went D Dorian, F Dorian, A flat Dorian, B Dorian. Those are all radical changes and they all sounded great and they were all Dorian. After that, then the thing to do after that last one would be to go somewhere Lydian. Let's try it. Here we go. Here's D Dorian. I'm going to go up in minor thirds. Here's F Dorian. A flat Dorian, B Dorian, C Lydian. I like it. That's how you set up a tune. And you don't have to have a whole page full of chunks. If you got like 6 places to go, 6 major places to go, and you can do walk-ups and momentarily, walk-arounds, like D Dorian to C Dorian, D Dorian to E Dorian, D Dorian to C Dorian, D Dorian to E Dorian. Just do it back, and you can move that stuff around. And honestly, you can move that stuff around a lot. After you've got your song written, you can throw more of that movement in. But if you've got your basic place, walk a little bit, walk up to another place, walk to another place, that's enough to make a tune out of, because that's just the structure of the tune. The structure doesn't have to be super complicated. A lot of tunes are just 3 chunks, and they might all be Dorian, or they might be just 2 chunks. Like the song Milestones, Miles Davis is just 2 chunks. So what is 2 chunks? We'll look at, in the next video, we're going to look at some really cool ways people have done this. But in the meantime, you should check out Copeland, check out McCoy-Tyner, check out the guy who wrote Prayer of St. Gregory and the Tale of the Song of the Great Whale, Alan Hovhaness. Alan Hovhaness is a great modal composer. And he really takes his time. He'll stay in one spot for a really long time. A lot of Bill Evans things are modal. A lot of Herbie Hancock is modal. A lot of Frank Zappa is modal. Philip Glass is modal. All the minimalists are modal. Almost all. Almost all minimalism is also modal. And when you hear something harmonically cool, it's like what we were just talking about, especially with Philip Glass. The minimalists take their time more than, say, Stravinsky or Copeland. The Copeland Clarinet Concerto is a really great chromatic modal piece. It's like everything you can do, and it's fantastically well done. We watched that in class. It's a great piece. Like I said, McCoy-Tyner, all kinds of jazz is modal. Anyway, check it out. Check out all those things. Watch this video as much as you can stand it, I guess, and try doing these things. Oh, one thing I forgot to tell you. When you're writing, you don't have to have a lot of keyboard skills. If you're writing this stuff on the computer, write everything in no sharps and no flats, and then just transpose it someplace. Transpose it up a half step, and then you don't have to figure all that stuff out. You can use the computer to be your mental assistant. You can write everything in white keys and then just transpose it around, and you can get. Some composers do that. That one guy that Hector brought in, that was an example of that. I can't remember who it was, but obviously written just on simple music in the white keys. Then stay on white keys and throw some wacky bass note. So here's white keys, and I'll put it over E flat. What is that? It's kind of a weird mode. Synthetic mode. That's kind of random, creating new modes by just crossing, throwing a chromatic bass note underneath the white keys, and then you can see what I'm doing. That sounds great. But it's kind of random. Sounds great though. From what I have in this hand, you would never think to put A flat and F sharp in the left hand. But that would be a nice spot in a tune. You couldn't sit there forever, but it's cool because it's on the next video, I'm going to show you the really cool stuff that people do, the advanced cool things, which is the inside-outside crossing up modes and stuff like that. That's polytonality or bimodality, 2 modes at the same time, or right hand in one mode and left hand in another mode. Some people call that modal borrowing. There's all kinds of cool stuff that make for really complicated things, but it's easy. Anyway, that's this video about how to put a tune together. This isn't how to write your melodies and how to write your counter melody. This is just the underlying harmonic structure of making a cool piece of music, a cool wind ensemble piece, or a cool jazz piece, or maybe even a cool pop tune, all using chromatic modal theory.